Hi everybody, this is Coach Joe and welcome to another of what I call my Keep It Simple video series. Today we're going to be talking about shin splints, one of the most prevalent of inflammation series that happen to people in the exercise. Basically pain in the front of the shin, and we're going to talk today what do you do when you get a bit of that pain and how to reduce it, or more importantly, how can you avoid it as you start and embark on your next training program. It's really simple. It's an inflammation problem. It's not a weakness. So you got to let that inflammation go down. The inflammation is causing the pain. So you got to stop activity for a couple of weeks, not just a couple of days. Take 1 or 2 weeks off. Now it doesn't mean you have to do nothing, but reduced activity a lot. So if you're a runner, you can't go run outside for long distances. Sorry, go for a walk on your treadmill, do activity on a soft surface, find something that's not causing you pain. Walk through movements, keep things simple, pain-free. Number 2, R.I.C.E. R.I.C.E. is rest, ice, compression, elevation, simple stuff. Rest and ice you get, but ice you got to understand. Ice only works with compression and elevation. So putting a bag of ice on your leg, on your shin, and sitting there like that, it's going to do nothing. Compression means pressure. Without pressure, that stuff doesn't penetrate, it just makes your skin cold. And elevation means get the leg up. You got to get it above the hips, and that's going to help that swelling and inflammation a lot. And lastly, if it persists for more than a couple of weeks, then you need to go see a sports physio or a sports doctor. Don't go see a GP. Most of you don't know anything about active people and active people issues. Again, I apologize for that, but it's actually true. First, you got to know the activities that are causing it or when it's going to come up. So shin splints are caused by activities that are ballistic, hard, explosive. Things that put a lot of stress on the front of the joint, especially when you have new footwear, you start a new program, or you come back from the off season, or 3, you're working on hard surfaces. So any of those things sound like you, be aware you might be somebody that's going to get a bit of that shin pain. We're going to talk about how you put some strengthening and flexibility exercise together that you can do anywhere, anytime with simple things to help create a bit more strength and a bit more robustness to stop the chance of that occurring. So there's 2 sets of exercise I'm going to show you. One is really simple things you can do at home for general strength, flexibility, range of motion to help work those muscles. Second one's a little more specific if you are quite active and an athlete and in a dynamic situation to really give you the kind of strength you'll need in that lower shin, in those lower legs to help avoid pain and inflammation there. Number 1, seated exercise. You can do these anywhere. Okay, you can do these in a car, you can do these in an office. You don't need a gym, you don't need any fancy equipment, you don't need shorts and a t-shirt. Exactly like I am here in a seated position. And the first exercise is simply called toe stretches. All right, and what you want to do here is simply go through full range of motion up and down. Pull all the way up, push all the way down. Don't rush it. And if you notice, you'll see the muscle that's actually kind of responsible for all this strength. All right, at the front of the shin. That's a toe stretch, all the way up, all the way down. You can do it seated like that, 3 to 4 times a day, 30, 60 seconds. Do it a lot. Number 2 is simply the same thing, but in a circle motion. So now what we're going to do is drop down into a circle, bring it all the way up. Drop down into a circle, bring it all the way up. And the reason you go slow is because it also gives some strength endurance and some strengthening to that muscle. Number 3 is actually a bit of strengthening, and this is called a toe push. Now notice what I do first. I lean my body forward, sit in a low chair like this, lean my body forward, and I put my weight on my knees. Now there's weight on my legs, and I'm going to go through that toe motion, but with weight. I'm going to pull that all the way up, pull, 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 and then push it all the way down. And you see I'm lifting my body now. I'm consciously pushing my body weight forward. So my body's the gym. That's a good, strong, focused contraction of the muscles in the front of the shin with lots of range of motion exercise. Most of your problems are going to be solved with that. Now, if you're an athlete and you're trying to get a little more action down there to really protect you from the type of high-speed activities you're going to do, we've got a high-performance collaboration with our great university, the University of Oregon, and here's a Division I quarterback who's going to walk you through these exercises, what we call heel walks, heel toe skips, and toe bounce. And now we've incorporated Exogen, our product, to put some specific and light loading in that muscle for proprioception and strengthening to really help field, court, team sport athletes avoid shin splints, strengthen that lower leg, and get them prepared for some really explosive activity. Take it away. For each of these exercises, you're going to do 2 to 3 sets over about 10 meters distance, 10 minutes max total. You're going to do this 2 to 3 times a week, best time during your warm-ups. You're going to be working with the Exogen calf sleeve, loading right at the front of the shin with the belly down. And here's the loading chart that shows you on your body weight how much weight you're going to use. Shin splints are not a weakness, they're an overload. What's most important is to know this is completely reversible and it's quite simple to deal with. Take good advice and, as always, keep things simple. Let's keep moving forward.